Roll up, welcome to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I'm Thundercloud Riparian, Mum calls me James. Well, I'm here in Guyra to celebrate Australian poetry and also the languages and the song lines of the origines too, you see. So in this here hall, this great magnificent Hall of Fame, I'd love to have portraits and pictures all around here of famous poets and their poetry one day. Before I go on any further, I just have to say that a cultural warning that this video contains names and images of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who have passed away. So let's get back to this and the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame and my plan for this place to make it grand. This wonderful, wonderful theatre, once again, that's been empty for 50 years, hasn't been used as a venue for 50 years, and it's been like an emporium. But now, to turn it back into an art venue, celebrating poetry, halfway between Brisbane and Sydney. It's a really cool place, cold. It's up on top of the plateau up here in Banbai country, so I'd like to acknowledge Banbai people as the traditional custodians of the land that I am on at the moment. And in this room here, this is dedicated to our First Nations poets, languages and song lines. So, First Nations people, I'm calling on you to come and add your ideas about who should be celebrated here. We've got hundreds of First Nations in Australia, and I would really be honoured if all of them could be honoured here in this place and further on. And so, the plan for this place is to become beautiful with lots of colours and to invite people in to do art and artworks and all around, celebrating Australian poetry. I'm not Australian because the Australian stuff will be in this. This is going to be the First Nations, the Aborigines room, all the way down there and around. Part of my project is to create a series of posters big posters for this place. And I've got these little tiny ones here, they're A3. But I want to get bigger ones. Oh, they're A2, A3, yeah. But let's go through it. I want to share with you some of the wonderful words of our poets from this land here. All right, and the number one that I couldn't help but think of because it was really my inspiration to write poetry all along, probably the first bit of original Australian poetry that I can remember reading ever. It's Municipal Gum by Adrian Knuckle. Gum tree in the city street. Hard bitumen around your feet. Rather, you should be in the cool world of leafy forest halls and wild bird calls. Here you seems to me like that poor horse castrated, broken, a thing wronged, strapped and buckled, its held prolonged, whose hung head and listless mien express its hopelessness. Municipal gum, it is dolorous to see you thus, set in your black grass of bitumen. O fellow citizen, what have they done to us? And then another poet who will be celebrating here in the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame is Judith Wright, who was born just down the road at near Armidale, and this is her poem Lyrebirds. Judith was a big supporter of Aboriginal land rights and a good social activist and environmentalist. Over the west side of the mountain, that's Lyrebird country, I could go there, they say, in the early morning, and I'd see them, I'd hear them. 10 years and I've never gone. I'll never go. I'll never see the lyrebirds, the few, the shy, the fabulous, the dying poets. I should see them if I lay there in the dew, first a single movement, like a water drop falling, then stillness, then a brown head, brown eyes, a splendid bird bearing, like a crest, the symbol of his art, the high symmetrical shape of the perfect lyre. I should hear that master practicing his art. No, I've never gone. Some things ought to be left alone, secret, alone. Some things, birds like walking fables, ought to inhabit nowhere but the reverence of the heart. Judith Wright. And one more, we'll move on to a follower. He's Clarence Michael James Stanislaus Dennis, who wrote a lot of kids' poetry, some kind of quite funny stuff. The Glugs of Gosh was one of his books there. And this is out of that, the old Gosh rhyme. Let him who is minded to meet with a glug pluck 3 hardy hairs from a rabbit-skin rug. Blow one to the south, and one to the west, then burn another and swallow the rest. And who shall explain 'tis the talk of a fool who's a glug? He's a glug of the old Gosh school. And he'll climb a tree if the east wind blows in a casual way just to show he knows. Now tickle his toes, oh tickle his toes, and don't blame me if you come to blows. Stanislaus Dennis. And that's it from the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. So if you like this project and you think it's a good idea, there's I got a GoFundMe, and you can click on there and you can donate, and you can see this grow into a magnificent hall for all people, for all time, celebrating poetry. Thank you very much.